The Saber combo is the biggest threat you can present as Boltyn, and not only will this video teach you how to do it, we'll also cover advanced tactics that will make it nearly unstoppable. The combo allows Boltyn to swing Cintari Sabers 6 to 8 times for free, while gaining life and replenishing soul each time a Saber hits. This is achieved by playing multiple Lumina Ascensions in combination with the equipment abilities on Snapdragon Scalers, Courage of Bladehold, and Gallantry Gold. An average combo turn threatens 30 plus damage and can gain Boltyn up to 12 life if left unchecked. Before we see how it's done, let's talk through the requirements of executing a successful combo turn, starting with Boltyn's ability and Lumina Ascension. Boltyn has two abilities, the second of which is an attack reaction that pairs perfectly with Lumina Ascension. His reaction allows us to banish a card from Soul to give go again to any attack with greater than its base damage, and since Lumina buffs each weapon +1, we'll be able to use his reaction on every Saber swing during the combo. Lumina's second effect allows each Saber to attack an additional time if we've charged this turn, which means charging at the start of our combo turn is critical to maximize damage potential. Charging also means the opponent will have a harder time blocking our combo, since Boltyn's first ability reduces the value they get from blocking with attack actions. Some quick math tells us that playing 1 Lumina Ascension lets us swing our Sabers 4 times total, 2 Luminas lets us swing 6 times, and 3 Luminas is 8 times. Lumina Ascension is clearly the backbone of the Saber combo, so we'll be running all 3 copies in the deck, but we'll also want to run 3 copies of Beacon of Victory, since its effect allows us to fetch Lumina from our deck. Any 2-copy combination of Lumina and Beacon can signal that we're ready to start our combo, so we'll want to keep an eye out for these in our early turns of the match. It does require having more cards in Soul prior to starting the combo, since we have to banish from Soul as part of the cost, but more on that later. Courage of Bladehold, Gallantry Gold, and Snapdragon Scalers are key pieces of our combo's engine. Courage allows our Sabers to swing for free, Gallantry allows us to pay 1 resource to give each Saber +1, and Snaps can help us bridge the gap between our first charge attack and the start of the combo. Our headpiece selection can vary, from Halo of Illumination to Skullcap to Crown of Providence, as none of them directly impact our combo turn, but Courage, Gallantry, and Snaps should be standard in every Boltyn Sabers deck. We'll also want to be sure to block with these to get their blocking value before breaking them on our combo turn. The Cintari Sabers themselves are the last key piece to the combo. As mentioned before, they cost 1 resource to attack with, but are free after breaking Courage of Bladehold. Thanks to Boltyn, these will get an additional +2 damage during each combat chain link when an opponent blocks with an attack action, and due to the Saber's effect, the +1 counter will stay for the remainder of the turn. The number of cards we have in Soul matters as well. Ideally, we'd start our combo turn with 3 or 4 cards in Soul. This amount is dictated by the opponent's ability to deal damage in the early game, and or their ability to block out our Saber swings at the start of the combo. We'll talk more on this later when we discuss the opponent's blocking options. I'll mention Spirit of Eirina here since generating action points at instant speed reduces the number of Soul cards required to start the combo, but it's both important and less complicated to learn how the combo works without introducing Spirit of Eirina into the mix now. We'll dive into a number of important nuances right after this example, but for now let's see how the average combo plays out. For this example, we have 1 Lumina Ascension in Arsenal and the other in hand. We made sure to use our equipment for its blocking value, and we survived the opponent's turn without having to block from hand, so we're ready to start our combo. We'll start our combo by playing our charge attack and charging a card. We could have played the Engulfing Light instead, but since we have enough Soul for the combo and we don't need the on-hit from Engulfing, I think it's better to have resources floating in case the opponent taxes us somehow, like with Frostbites, so we'll plan to pitch the yellow Engulfing to pay for Gallantry and keep 1 resource floating. Since we didn't block with any cards, from hand or arsenal during the opponent's turn, they probably know the combo's coming, and they're unlikely to block here and instead save their cards to block our Saber swings later. We'll react with Snapdragon Scalers to give our attack go again and let the damage resolve. Next, we'll break the chain by activating Courage of Bladehold and Gallantry Gold, which buffs our weapon attacks and makes them cost 0. We'll clean up the board a bit, play our Ascensions, and attack with our first Cintari Saber for 5, since we have 2 additional damage from the Luminas, +1 from Gallantry. I suggest using dice to keep track of which saber is swinging each time and for how much damage to keep yourself and your opponent in sync. We'll let the opponent block or not, and then we'll react by banishing from soul for go again. Then we'll calculate damage dealt and reveal off the top of our deck for each Lumina effect if the saber swing hits. 2 Luminas means 2 reveals. Each light card we reveal will add to our soul and gain us 1 life from Lumina's effect. To complete the combo, we repeat this process for the remainder of the saber swings allowed by our Luminas, which in this case is 5 attacks after the first one. Since seasoned players will likely not block until your final saber swings, there may not be much interaction during the combo, and it can be easy to accidentally move past reactions to the damage phase if you start revealing light cards from your deck to Lumina's effect. Make sure you always banish for go again before triggering Lumina to avoid stopping your combo unintentionally. When the combo is complete, we should have more soul and life than we started with, and if the opponent was forced to block, tempo will be squarely in our favor. Now that you know the basics, let's rewind the combo and talk through how the opponent's blocks matter. Suppose we start our combo with only 3 cards in soul. If we're facing down an opponent who runs very few attack actions and has a fridge of blocking equipment like Dorinthia, it's safer to begin the combo with 4 cards in soul instead of 3. Since they could potentially block out the first 3 saber swings and stop our combo. By not allowing us to trigger Lumina's effects on the first 3 attacks, we have not been able to replenish soul and have no way to give our 4th attack go again, which stops our combo earlier than we'd like. If we had started with 4 cards in soul, we could react for go again here and continue. However, most heroes won't be able to block as well as Dori, and will likely end up blocking with attack actions, which, like we said, will buff our sabers plus 2 damage, 1 from Boltyn's ability and 1 from the saber itself. Note that the plus 1 from the saber carries through until the end of turn, and will trigger again in later chain links if the opponent blocks with another attack action. Alternating your saber swings is an important practice in case your opponent doesn't know this rule. By alternating, an unsuspecting opponent who blocks your first 2 sabers with attack actions will buff each one until the end of the turn, which is a small detail but could end up netting additional damage. Most players know this though, and will choose not to attempt blocking out your early attacks, instead waiting to block out the last attacks of the combo to prevent your sabers from keeping +1 counters longer than they need to. Let's rewind again and look at how the number of soul cards matters if we're holding Beacon of Victory instead of Lumina Ascension. If we have 4 cards in soul, but need to play 2 beacons to fetch our Luminas, we run the risk of starting our combo with too few cards after we banish to each beacon. This means we'll need to start our combo with 1 additional card in soul for each beacon we plan to use to tutor a Lumina, since the cost of the card we're searching for has to be less than X, and X can't be 0. Quick note, the 2 best charge attacks to play at the start of your turn are Bolt of Courage or Engulfing Light. If Engulfing Light hits, it will go to soul, providing you additional protection from the opponent being able to block out the combo. And if Bolt hits, you'll get to draw a card that could end up adding damage to your turn, or act as a card to pitch to Gallantry if you have triple Lumina in hand. Speaking of, it's important to note that if you go for the triple Lumina, you won't be looking to break Gallantry Gold, since the 3rd Lumina occupies the card slot we normally pitch. But with Bolt of Courage, we're able to draw a card to pay for that cost and swing a minimum of 8 times for 6 damage apiece, threatening 48 damage minimum before blocks. The dream turn. While Bolt of Courage is a great starter, the absolute best way to play the Saber combo is with Via the Vanguard and Spirit of Eirina, which I show you how to do in the next video.